Good morning, everyone. How's it going? Good. I feel so honored, humbled to be here and be a part of this living and live legacy. This poem attempts to capture the history of Black Boston. It begins with an epigraph from the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. that reads, "Boston must become a leader among cities. The vision of a new Boston must extend into the heart of Roxbury and into the mind of every child. Boston must conduct the creative experiments in the abolition of ghettos, which will point the way to other communities." It's called Black Beacon, or History as a Crown of Sonnets with Disjointed Repetition as Proof. The poem opens with a land acknowledgement. Colonizers conquered and killed. Massachusetts belongs to the Wampanoag Nation and belongs still. The poem positions itself at the helix of desire and time. The first mass group of Africans arrived in Boston on a slave ship christened the Desire. Native folks were traded for Black folks who toiled soil in the Bahamas. 20 years gone, and Bostonian Ken, a man Christian after the city itself, is the first Black to buy in Dorchester, forging a home for those of us who did not make the plantation of one. Here, the poem introduces the poet as both kin and keeper of memory. The first Black poet was a slave the Wheatleys bought off a ship Christian the Phyllis. The Wheatleys crystallized the girl as the ship, and the girl wields her master's language, becomes the threat. If you give a slave a book, she will write one instead. The poet or the poem note the irony of the tongue in which the history is forged. For proof, the first casualty of the revolution was a Black Bostonian. 2 centuries gone, and both the people and the poem can hear the shot coiling the globe. Thus, the poem coils the past with present, doctrinizes a perpetual state of Black being. For proof, we stay living. For proof, we be not dying, despite the forging. For proof, take the Haydens, who kept gunpowder under the deck in case a slave catcher tried to try it. Stay forming a freedom house from slave shack, ready to run away, rescue, riot. The court's history of Black women batting for Black women. Combahee River collected pins, blooming pistols, General Tubman ready, stay, David Walker appealing a fight, girls with Afro puffs galvanizing the march, desegregated schools, bus and busted, city on a hill, city hall, and all. For proof, first ladies of Roxbury and male kings. For proof, Presley, Boiling, Trotter. For proof, first nurse, first genius, first people of South and West Ends. For proof, we stay the proof. Pedestal, prodigy, North Star still, and still North Star gazing. Here, the poem refers to descendancy or ascension, reminds the people Black Boston was born of desire. From the Latin desidera, translated to from the stars, meaning from the boughs rose bodies of light. Us, descendants of beacons, us, stars cloaked in dark, meaning still us rise, meaning still us go, still us God, still us gone, conquer the night. Thank you all. I'm gonna read a poem from the poet Mel King, if that's okay. And it is called In Fellowship. I want to write a poem. That's my goal. To tell about a model created in the image of the sum of all parts, about change, small. I want to write a song. That's my role. To sing about a medium formed in the sigh when he rested, about growth, little. I want to tell a story. That's my challenge. To tell about a creation molded out of nothing, about nucleus, atom. I want to make some music. That's my choice. To trumpet out the message of the sounds, out of the glory, about the splendor, about the power, live. I want to say a prayer. That's my pleasure. About a joyful noise from the breath of life to say thank you for giving, for loving. And that comes from the poet Mel King. And the title of the book is Love is the Question and the Answer. This last poem is an Afrofuturistic reimagination of history. People know the story of Dorothy Dandridge. Yes, people know this person. She was a famous Black actress, singer. She played Carmen Jones. People say she was before her time, but she was before the Civil Rights Movement, right? Which means she didn't get all of the opportunities afforded to her. And there is this legend, this urban legend that says she went to sing at this hotel and she was like, you know, they were giving her a tour and she was like, oh, I can't wait to get into the pool. And they said, if you get in the pool, we'll have to drain it because you're a Black person and we'll have to reclean it. And then there's this myth, this legend that she later on, she walked past and she like dipped her toe into the water and then that they also did drain it. But again, this is an Afrofuturistic reimagination of that story. Adrienne Marie Brown says all organizing is science fiction, right? So I like to think that Mel King was also an is an Afrofuturist, right? Or is a person who says a thing and then does a thing, and we can, write the futures that we want to see. This is called Dorothy Dips a Toe into a Pool After Being Warned the water would be drained should a Black person swim in it, 1953, Las Vegas. And all at once, without and within, each well of wet everywhere swelled dry. The woman in the shower, shriveling, shaken, bare. The cook steaming at the sink's faulty faucet, the rust keening and dragging itself through pipes. Chalices unfilled, air wilts the face, moisture abandons the flesh, the breath, the girth, water unflows, reruns away like blood from a wound. The swimming pool, brimming moments ago, now hold mothers who hold babies dry sobbing at its base. Guests at the last frontier lay leisurely, their bodies brittle on the deck. The Black spell is the yes cascading over a no. The anti to the anti, all kept from me in spite, shall spite keep from you with force. And in another land, unpromised, the color blue opens and spreads to blanket each eye. Dorothy stands at the water's ledge. Her curls and linen lie loose. Her skin, cool and sweet, sings a song unsang but known. Dorothy, a tall tide, coaxing herself into herself. Dorothy, a good curse, moves into waves weighed at her waist. The dancing wet rushes together at her hips. She cups the clear in her palms and splashes upward. Dorothy raises her arms in ocean rain, urges the body to name itself religion. Dorothy splatters and ripples bring forth a sanctum. Each droplet is plenty for the city's south side. A shower gives itself to the children on 83rd playing at the hydrant. A spray fills the pot of collards on a back burner. Another flows through a school's fountain once lined with lead. Dorothy swishes water into the sugar breeze and it lingers in air. No one thirsts. Dew demands a mother cease to grow. Moisture soothes a lonely throat. Dorothy raises the ocean, and oh, I want to tell you how her hands cradled full drops toward the sky, how the water could hardly stand to let her go. Thank you all so much.